I'm Michaela, and this is my informative speech. My audience is my friend Taylor, my sister Mulaney, and my dad. The images I will be using will demonstrate the differences between wheat used 50 years ago and modern wheat. More and more people across the world are experiencing a continual sick feeling. They are no longer able to eat many common food dishes such as spaghetti, apple pie, pizza, and hamburgers for fear of their health and sometimes even their life. Celiac disease is a disorder that is currently threatening the lives of over 280 million people worldwide. But out of that 280 million, only about 70 million have actually been diagnosed. Society is underinformed about the gluten-associated disorders, causing people to be unaware about the potentially dangerous protein they ingest multiple times every day. Because the physical makeup of wheat has changed drastically over the past 50 years due to hybridization, people have become more prone to gluten intolerance, celiac disease, and small intestine distress. As the agricultural industry has become more competitive, manufacturers have looked to hybridization as a method of increasing crop yields for over half a century. Wheat hybridization is the process of crossing the genetics of two different breeds of wheat in an effort to combine the best traits from each plant. In order to breed the two plants, some geneticists use the process such as a gamma irradiation and additions of the highly toxic chemical sodium iodide. Sodium iodide is so dangerous, in fact, that Poison Control has stated, quote, "If someone accidentally ingests sodium iodide, you shouldn't try to resuscitate the person, because you could die too while giving CPR," end quote. This creates a breed of a wheat that is resilient, grows more quickly, and produces more efficiently. This is something that scientists like to call a super wheat, or Frankengrain. They end up containing proteins that cannot be found in either of the parent plants, including amylopectin A. Hybridization involves using unsafe chemicals and radiation to create a plant that does not naturally exist. Due to the addition of these harmful proteins, more and more people are experiencing side effects from wheat intake. The new breed of plant that is created in this process is not only genetically different than any other plant, but also physically different. The wheat stalks are shorter by about 2.5 feet and also grow at a much faster rate. This allows more of the plant's energy to be devoted to producing seeds rather than to growing upward, thus completing the total growing time sooner. These new breeds are also stockier than ever and can support a larger seed bed. With all of these factors combined, the plants can simply produce and support more seeds than any plants before. While this is wonderful for farmers, one tends to overlook the underlying consequences of consuming these grains. The proteins that are procured by hybridization and found in the product plant include amylopectin A, which is harmful to humans. Amylopectin A is a protein found in gluten that is efficiently converted into blood sugar. It is so efficient, in fact, that a slice of white bread can increase one's blood sugar faster than even a king-sized candy bar. This is problematic because when one's blood sugar is spiked at such an accelerated rate, it also plummets at an equally accelerated rate. When this happens, it causes the consumer to feel hungrier and be hungry more often. Because of this side effect caused by gluten-containing amylopectin A, people are consuming more wheat than what is healthy. That is where the problem lies. Wheat is incredibly addictive and works similarly to a drug. Dr. William Davis discusses a study done with lab animals on the effects of gluten's addictive nature. National Institutes of Health researchers shows that gluten-derived polypeptides can cross into the brain and bind the brain's opiate receptors, so people get this mild euphoria after eating a product made with whole wheat. You can block the effect in lab animals by administering the drug naloxone. This is the same drug that you're given if you're a heroin addict. It's an opiate blocker. A drug company approached the FDA in June 2011 and asked them to commercialize naltrexone, an oral equivalent to naloxone. This drug is supposed to cancel the increased pleasure one feels when consuming gluten, and in turn eliminate one's desire to eat more. Gluten is dangerously addictive and is therefore added to almost every processed food imaginable. People consume some form of gluten almost an average of 15 times per day, most likely without even realizing it. Celiac disease is a rising epidemic, affecting nearly 300 million people worldwide. According to Tara Parker Pope of the New York Times, quote, "Celiac disease is a serious immune system reaction to the protein found in wheat and other grains and is far more common today than it was 50 years ago, a new study shows," end quote. It is a disorder similar to gluten intolerance, but on a much larger scale. People who suffer from celiac disease have varying symptoms depending on age, including chronic diarrhea, vomiting, constipation, abdominal bloating and pain, fatigue, and unexplained iron deficiency. While scientists are not completely sure of the cause of celiac disease, they speculate that two factors, gluten intake and genetic makeup, are the main contributors. Although many people are carriers of the gene that can cause celiac disease, simply having that gene is not enough to cause the disease. Gluten must also be present in an individual's diet. For some individuals, it takes very little gluten consumption to trigger celiac disease, while for others, it takes greater quantities of gluten. Consuming gluten is dangerous to those with celiac disease because of the harmful reaction it has on their bodies. According to Beth Fontenot, quote, "When a person with celiac disease ingests gluten, the villi and the small intestine are damaged or destroyed. The result is a significant reduction in the surface area of the intestinal mucosa where the absorption of nutrients occurs," end quote. The villi and the small intestine function to absorb nutrients during the digestive process. Without them, malnourishment can occur. Ingesting gluten can also damage or impair the intestinal enzymes that are secreted, which help break down food and aid the digestive process. Gluten-associated disorders are a rising epidemic in society today. The hybridization of wheat causes many intestinal problems for people born with genetic predispositions to certain gluten-related disorders. So many people are uneducated about the potential dangers that inherently accompany not only wheat products, but also many other food products that contain traces of wheat and gluten. Many people's quality of life could be improved by the deletion of one small protein from their diet. Omitting gluten from one's diet involves more than just purchasing gluten-free foods at a store or not eating rye, barley, or wheat. For almost 300 million people affected by celiac disease, the decision to maintain a gluten-free diet is a matter of life and death. Thank you.